Before we begin, 3 messages. When my company needed to develop a key mobile product, one that I was counting on as a new source of revenue, I knew exactly who to turn to. Macadamian. They delivered on time with incredible attention to detail, and I was able to get product into customers' hands faster than I ever thought possible. I've personally known them for 10 years, and they do make great products even better. Check them out at www.macadamian.com. Here's a riddle. How do you build native cross-platform mobile applications quickly without having to rewrite code and hire consultants at a huge cost? Titanium from Appcelerator. Called the easy button for mobile application development, it allows you to focus more on what's important, getting product out the door. Join the more than 1.5 million active developers who have created over 13,000 apps at www.appcelerator.com. If you're a freelancer or running your own small business, the one thing you probably wish you could do quicker and easier is invoicing. That's where FreshBooks.com comes in. They take the pain out of invoicing and get you paid faster. Effortlessly create invoices and email them to your clients. They can view them, print them, and even pay you right away with PayPal or any of their 11 other payment gateways. FreshBooks.com can automate late payment reminders and help track your billable hours at the office or while on the go with their apps for iPhone, BlackBerry, and Android. I'm only one of over 2 million really satisfied customers, and you can be one as well, all for free. Just head to www.freshbooks.com and sign up. When you do, be sure to say you heard of them from untether.tv, and one of you, my loyal viewers, will win a birthday cake each and every week. It doesn't even have to be your birthday. Get started today for free at www.freshbooks.com. Hello everybody, welcome to untether.tv. This is where we have casual conversations with mobile rock stars. And I'm joined from San Francisco, sunny San Francisco today. I want to paint a picture about this product. Matt Brzezina is the founder of Sincerely, and Sincerely actually makes the product Postagram, which is a way to actually send postcards or send physical product based on Instagram, which is another a mobile service that allows you to add neat filters to pictures. But a really interesting concept here is around the business model for this company, and we're really going to dive into this in a little while. Matt, thanks for coming on and sharing the story about what Postagram is and what Sincerely is, and how this is going to evolve over the next couple of years as this thing grows. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I think you're really good at this, Rob. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, it's been a good start so far. We're a minute in, and I've got your name right, the company name right. No, I'm a big fan. I actually used the product about a week ago. I'm in Canada, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get here. But to send a postcard to myself to give it a test, and I can't wait to see this because it's an innovative product. Why don't you tell people in a way that I did, a little bit better than I did, about what this program is and what it is that, what's the essence of Postagram?
So I'll start by talking at a very high level about the company Sincerely.
Sure.
The goal of the company Sincerely is to make it easy to send real physical photos in the mail from your mobile phone. So, a year ago or more, I saw the iPhone 4 come out, and I said, this is the most amazing camera that's ever existed. It's connected to the web. It's with you all the time. It knows who your friends are. And it takes pretty much as good of pictures as these point and shoots everybody's carrying around. Absolutely. And, I was in Maui traveling with a friend, and we said, where's the business around this camera being the new, or this iPhone being the new camera? And we said it's going to be around sending photos. Yeah. Buying photos for yourself, but also sending them to other people. And that's never been easy before. And the goal of our company is simply to make that easy. So the first product that we've launched underneath the Sincerely name is a product called Postagram, which you've used and what we're talking about today. And what that does is integrates with Instagram, pulls in your photos from that wildly popular social service, and allows you to send those photos in a pop-out postcard with a little note and your picture to someone anywhere in the world for 99 cents.
It's so simple. And I want to come to that business model, but it just, what struck me was the first time I heard about it, obviously through, it was either Mashable, TechCrunch, or actually it was from Om Malik,
Mm.
right? In a tweet that he put out and said, welcome back, I guess, to you.
Yeah.
And I followed the link and came across it, downloaded it, and immediately tried it. And I thought, come on, this is so simple. But then I said, come on, this is so simple.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, and we'll get into this, how is it possible that you can build a business around photos on somebody else's basically open API, pulling in those photos? But then I thought, how can you stamp and print something for 99 cents and deliver it anywhere? And we're not going to talk about that now, but that's, I mean, almost immediately my mind was racing with these kind of questions. But I want to take a step back before we go there. This is the first product of a number of products that you want to release, obviously, but you have product experience before. You were a founder or a co-founder of Zobni, which is, at least was when I was a PC user, and now I know that it's in Gmail, but when a beloved application for me. And you did that for a number of years, and have stepped back out into to building product. Is this where you? I mean, is this you love the software side, internet, mobile? What is it? What is it for you?
The category of products I have the most passion for are products that I personally would like to use and that would help me maintain my relationships and build stronger friendships. There's nothing I value more on the planet. There's nothing I think is more interesting than people.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in things that help me and help people like me, which I hope is a lot of people, build stronger relationships and have better friendships. And so Zobni was an example of that. We looked at email clients that were out there, and we knew there was so much pain around email. And if you looked at any email client that existed before Zobni, it was a big list of messages with the most recent one at the top, the oldest one at the bottom. We're members of the Facebook generation. We said, holy crap, the most interesting thing in email is people.
Yes.
If we can make it easy to expose those relationships that are inside email, we're going to make you better at your job, make you better as a friend, make you more efficient. And so that was really kind of a communication productivity app. What we're doing with Sincerely is, again, a communication product. I think printing a photo and getting it sent to your house is interesting, and that's cool. I think it becomes really interesting when you can send it to somebody else, because I think that a printed physical photo sent in the mail is the most ubiquitously appreciated physical product in the world. Yes. It's the most, gift. It's the most ubiquitously appreciated gift in the world. Everybody that's listening to this podcast today would love to get a photo from a friend.
Yep.
And if we can do that for 99 cents, we're then competing with virtual goods in terms of cost.
It's a no-brainer, right? That's so. Like the friction. I will talk about the pricing in a second, but it's you want to remove all friction on pricing so that it's like, if it costs you 54 cents to stamp a postcard, then it's not a stretch to spend 99 cents to actually get something physically printed and shipped, right? So
yeah.
It's interesting. I spent a lot of time abroad, and I would send postcards to everyone. And this is, I'd spend my life, writing postcards, and that's what you end up doing when you go away. Is that you, for the most part, you buy a bunch of postcards and then spend a couple of days mailing them and writing and mailing them. I got a lot of comments. I just got so sick of the standard postcards in Asia and Southeast Asia where I was traveling that I would just take pictures of myself. Whatever, a rock or playing a guitar on a beach or something like that, and as good a self-portrait as I could do, get it developed, and then stick a stamp on it and write, "Hey, thinking of you," and send it in the mail.
You were doing this.
I was doing this, right?
Wow. And I think that takes a lot of effort, and that means that you really care about your relationships, but that should be easier.
Oh yeah, well that's what when I was going through this, it struck me as like, God, this is great. Certainly the ability to do all of these things, but then the ability to the design of this, which is so unique, and we'll come to that in a second. So, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, Matt, you're my hero for doing something that really is something that you don't know that you need until you see it and then you want it. It's a great way of describing it. So, walk me through this. So you're traveling a little bit. You find out that there's no way that you can send good photos or photos to anybody. When was this? When did you decide to do this? And was it around the same time that Instagram came out, or was it?
No, it was before that.
Okay.
Actually, the photo space has totally heated up since we started working on this.
Yeah.
We started thinking about this back in actually May of last year.
Okay.
So
a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess all of us were thinking about this at the same time, and it was it wasn't necessarily that I personally on that trip wanted to send a photo. It was more that I realized that this phone that I was carrying with me, I'm like, I have a DSLR and I like photography, but
Yeah.
this phone was taking a lot of the most important photos in my life because I always had it with me.
Yeah, because it's there. The best
Yeah.
camera is the one that's what you've got, right?
Exactly. And it's pretty good. And, and I think that a lot of people are going to be using this device that way. And we've seen that that's true. And so as an entrepreneur, I was just thinking about what are the opportunities around that.
Yeah.
And I particularly like when, a business is just very clear how we make money and how we provide value. And if we can go and apply our knowledge in social networks, in kind of mobile behavior, to kind of an ingrained behavior, which is people do like to have printed photos, we think that there's a massive opportunity.
So, like last May, you're thinking about it, and you know that this is an opportunity, and so you start to explore it a little bit deeper. I mean, what was the first, when you told somebody this idea, what was their reaction?
Well, the funny thing is so I left Zobni. My plan was to travel for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did right around when I left was got on my motorcycle and rode 6,000 miles across the country by myself. So I had a lot of time just to think to myself, like I said, sitting in Yellowstone thinking about the internet, which, some people say is probably, there's something wrong with that. But I was doing that, and then my girlfriend met up with me. We went down to Cuba. We went to Jamaica for a while. Actually spent about 6 weeks up in Canada in the Canadian Rockies and Vancouver Island. And, I would have these conversations with people because I was thinking about this business. And honestly, my girlfriend was the one that was really supportive. She's really very mainstream, and she's like, Matt, I think this is a really good idea. She's like, I want to use it.
Well, and that's a litmus test, isn't it?
It is. And, some people say, the things that are the most, well, you're always surprised by the companies that end up doing well because it's not something anybody thought they wanted or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in that category, but everybody the passion that I'm seeing from users, the people that I told about it in advance, they were like, yeah, I think that's great. I'd like to use that. So I don't know. It seemed too good to not go after. Is
it a key when you're looking at a product like this, when you say, like, come on, somebody's had to have thought of this, right? It's one of those first things that you go through. It's like, so you start looking around and then you start asking people. So you ask your girlfriend or you ask your family, and they're always going to be a little bit leaning towards supporting you, right?
Right.
So when you go out to that first person that is not maybe so supportive, same reaction?
So this is a great question. And you can't just go off the family and stuff. And, I did go out and actually look at the market of what was going on in the space. And I looked at everybody, and there's people that have done similar stuff like this for over a year or more. But they just sucked. Like, it just wasn't great.
What sucked about it? Like the experience?
I mean, it's too confusing.
Yeah.
They even their pricing, right? Like, it costs me more to ship stuff internationally, but I don't want you to think about that.
Yeah.
So I'll eat it on that. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'd rather just make that experience so simple. Our goal is to make it as easy to send a real physical photo in the mail as it is to post a photo to Facebook.
Yeah.
And if I can reduce it down to that level of friction, I'm going to make up for it on volume. So, the things that were out there I don't even want to say like some of the things that we've done that I think are really special. They're probably I think our users can feel it. When you get your first Postagram, I think you're going to feel it.
Well, it's important. The experience is one of those great things, and what dawned on me. I saw this on your blog, which was I guess a fan, a user put up a little picture, drew a picture about the 6 easy steps of sending a postcard with Postagram, and it really, I mean, it's not even that complicated, is it?
No, its first step was click the icon on your screen.
I know exactly. It was a struggle to find 6 steps, right? But that how important is that when you were looking out at the scope of what was out there available right now? Because there are some big companies that are involved in this. Like Flickr's a big company. Certainly Facebook. Facebook is the biggest company around with photos, and there are services on both of these platforms. But so you're surveying all these things, and you still go ahead thinking that, look, we can create something magical here for people to use.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even. I shouldn't be overconfident, but I'm not worried about those guys.
Yeah.
They've got so many other things that are involved in their business. We have one thing that we work on in our business, which is make it easy to send physical photos in the mail from your mobile device.
Yeah.
If with that laser focus,
it's so great.
With that message with our users, I'm not even concerned about those big guys.
Yeah.
It'd be, I think, in their best interest to work with us.
100%. So how important was that laser focus? Like when you were thinking of all the services that you could provide onto this, like, I mean, some of the other ideas must have been much grander. Or was it, or you just right from the get-go, we have to do this one thing? One
thing I can say is that I just know and appreciate how important focus is inside a startup, having done this. It makes, essentially, as like the leader of the company, it makes it really easy. It makes my job easier. There's like a lot of things I have to worry about. Making sure there's money in the bank, making sure people are happy, making sure we're shipping products on time, making sure customers are happy.
Yep.
And if I can just have like a very simple operating principle in the company, which is if you're not working on something that makes it easier for people to send photos from their mobile phone, you're working on the wrong thing.
I love it. I love the clarity.
Right. And so it just makes, it makes it easier for when I'm here doing an interview with you, just being confident that, my team's working on our goal.
Yeah.
So that's...
But, I mean, that's so that comes with experience, though, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that they call it attention deficit disorder or self-diagnosed ADD, and the challenge with that is that you choose the business that you're in, and you have a hard time already trying to contain your vision. I know you probably do as well, because to contain it to what you're doing.
I freak them out all the time with new ideas.
Oh yeah, but you have to have that filter, don't you?
Yeah.
That just says it. I mean, you're right. It doesn't fit. And in the companies that I've run, I've always thought, all we have to do is print something on the wall that says, "This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is why we do it. And this is our customers." And if there's ever a doubt, just look up. And if you're not doing the things that are in line with that, don't do them. Right?
Yeah.
So you decide to do this. When did you decide on this product, on something like Postagram?
We've been experimenting for several months with users. This is just the first public product that we've put out. And what we were looking for was kind of an opportunity to slingshot this new company with the momentum of something else that's already been out there.
Yeah.
I put up a blog post and a presentation about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago, called "No One Cares About Your Stupid Little Startup." And it's true. It's so there's true. New startups launching every single day. How do you rise above that?
Yep.
If you've done it before, you have some relationships, people are looking for what you're doing next, that's helpful. But more important is to take something that an existing thing people already want to talk about and give them more ways to talk about it. And so that's what we've done with this. There's just insane momentum around Instagram. There's an existing community. There's viral mechanisms in that network. And we just thought this was a great opportunity to take technology we've been working on and take it to that community first.
Yeah, an install base of 3 million plus, insane growth. As I mean, the curve is pretty incredible with that. Did you work closely with? It's Kevin that runs Instagram. Did you work closely with those guys, or do you know them?
I've got tons of mutual friends. I've actually never met them.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's open APIs. That's why startups should do this. Is expose data to other startups and allow them to go build amazing things.
And it becomes a little bit more entrenched, massively entrenched. So they've got 1 million users, and then if you build an ecosystem around those, or 3 million users, you build an ecosystem around that. It's harder to get them out, right?
I mean, I hope that they become the Twitter of photos.
Yeah,
I really do. And I think that we'll be in a great place to capitalize on that.
So you decide on Instagram. Obviously, you ride the wave, and even so, when was that you made the decision on Instagram?
Oh, about 3 weeks before we launched.
That's beautiful. So you're testing this in the background. You're perfecting this, and we haven't talked about the back end, which is literally.
It's not perfected yet.
Okay, but we haven't talked about the print side of it. But so you're testing out these theories, and you're looking for that platform. You see Instagram, and you say, okay. The momentum that they're getting, that's they just opened up their API for developers. They're getting an incredible number of photos going through there. They're beautiful photos because of the filters that they're using. It's a unique piece. Did that all kind of come into play in your decision?
Like I said, we've been looking at the space for a year.
Yeah.
Had lots of ideas about what we were going to do in the space. Started experimenting. Saw them launch and then start to grow.
Yeah.
Have been watching them. API came out, and we were like, okay, we got to jump on this. This is a good way to launch the company. I wasn't even planning on like publicly announcing the company yet, but we just did this.
Well, because I mean, it's a good test for you guys. But what about the bigger platforms? Like I mentioned before, maybe not Flickr, because you always worry about. Well, I guess you pull in your own photos. You're not worried about copyright infringement. But what about Facebook? I mean, Facebook is the single largest photo sharing application on the planet now.
You know the stats on this? There is one Flickr's worth of photos uploaded to Facebook every month.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
Facebook photo impressions represent 5% of the page views on the internet.
Yeah.
Facebook's 10%.
That's incredible.
And the photos are like half of it.
Yeah. Well, I gave up on Flickr because it was such a hassle to send somebody to Flickr. Whereas everybody I know is on Facebook, the people that I want to exchange. So
I think Facebook's interesting. We think working with large stores of photos is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for you guys, a requirement is an open API and an ability to bring in those photos, and then the world becomes printable, ultimately. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
And, yeah, I mean... What we've done with this product, we haven't held it up here yet, but I kind of like to think of this as the new instant photo.
Yeah.
So this thing gets delivered in the mail. We see a postcard as like a government subsidized photo delivery mechanism.
100%. It's so great.
And but there's a lot of elements to what's here, right? It's not just the photo.
Yeah.
It's the photo that pops out and it's collectible, but it's also on the top here, you've got the user's picture, which is that instant personalization. It used to be a signature. I think it's silly to go try to write a signature on an iPhone. I think it's crazy every time I have to sign for
any kind of document,
credit card receipt.
Yeah.
It's just, but so we've got this photo which personalizes it, and then that 140 character message that's not too long that you have to think about it, not too short that you can't say anything, and it's more than just printing a photo. It's sending a gift.
So let's talk about the design. Because it's such a big... We'll move into the print side because it's such a big part. Obviously, it is the part. It's one thing to have a beautiful app and a usable app and an ability to do this with 1, 2, 3 clicks and you're done. But it's also another thing that product that lands in the mailbox through the abuse of the U.S. and Canadian mail systems and worldwide mail systems, that product lands in a way that I am in love with it when I see it. First, start with the design. The pop-out thing is brilliant, right? So that you can actually keep this as a gift. What kind of thought went into that? How many iterations of that product did you come up with before you decided on this one?
It's interesting. We really came to it by thinking about this new format of photos. It's not actually that new. There's other companies that have done, photos that are formatted not in the 2x3 format, square format.
Yeah.
You can think of some companies that have done that in the past. And so we thought about, okay, how do we ship one of those in a postcard?
Without changing the shape of the postcard.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually that increases prices of postcards if you change the shape. And we really hit up against a lot of these challenges. We've done a lot of iterations. I guess at the highest level, one of the things I'll say that's one of the most valuable things in building a company, especially a software technology company, is to work with engineers that are also designers. I cannot stress this enough. That's why I co-founded this company with my co-founder, Brian Kennedy. He was one of our employees at Zobni, former YC founder himself. And one of the things I loved about him is that he's great at design, and then he's great at building software. And you put those two things together, and you've reduced one communication leap that used to have to happen between those type of people. Yeah. And now it's just like he comes up with a bunch of stuff, and we look at it together and decide on something. And I've got another...
That's a unique individual.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are very few of those. There's a handful of those. Yeah, exactly. You've got 2 of them? Nice.
Yeah.
You're hoarding them. Because you're right. so much is lost in translation between the engineering and the design, or the design and the engineering. And to have somebody who has both left and right brain capabilities like that, where it's that's very valuable.
They usually just don't come together. It's a different personality trait.
Yeah.
My co-founder Brian's a great photographer. His personal website's just really interesting. I think it's plusbrian.com. Like, it's just really creative. He runs the largest guerrilla drive-in community in the world. It's like in 70 countries. Really? And this is where people go and project movies up on screen or up on the back of buildings all over the country or all over the world. But and he's been building software since he was in high school. So those kind of guys are.
You need those guys, don't you?
Yeah, they're awesome.
So, I mean, was it a communal thing that you kind of, you've got a guy who's good at photography, you've got an engineer who's good at designing, you put them all together, and you just kind of one day you said, hey, listen, how do we personalize this? Well, let's put your photo.
I'll take credit for that one.
Okay, good.
I just, and we're early. We'll see if this is actually what people want. I think it is. People will probably copy us. I think it's stupid to go and draw my little silly signature on some digital space. I don't even like doing it in the real world. Whereas there's ego in sending somebody something.
Sure.
There absolutely is. Again, I love my friends, and I want them to know I care. And when you send something that has more than your name, has your profile picture.
Yeah.
In the mail, I mean, that is so meaningful, so impactful. I've gotten postagrams from people now. I came up with this product, and it still hits me in the stomach. Like, that was so meaningful. And the photo from somebody that actually just makes it pop. So that's why we did that. It's the customization that you can't do otherwise in the digital world. The pop out, there's really two great things about it. It fits a form factor of a lot of photos that are happening, as well as we are shipping these in a postcard. Like you said, the Postal Service can be a little rough, so you could imagine the sides of your postcards getting beat up. This is going to be pretty protected in the middle.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, so
and then I don't know. My co-founder just comes up with cool things. On the side here, it's very small text. Right next to the photo, it says "Just pop it out." Nice. It's just it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, and you can play with this, right? Because boy, oh boy, could you ever, I don't know if you're thinking beyond this, but I think of even product companies sending things like this. Like I go to Disneyland or something like that, and I'm on a ride, and they've got all my information, and they send me a picture with like a coupon attached on the left side, and then a pop out of me and my family on a roller coaster on the right, right? Something like that. Like you can see how this idea. Just kind of many opportunities for companies to embrace this kind of thing and get back to actually letters.
Well, one of our favorite examples is your birthday on Facebook.
Yeah.
You essentially just get spammed.
Yeah.
And it actually doesn't mean anything when people do that. It's like, oh, you saw me in your feed. And really it just means that you're not as busy as I am, and you're just sitting on Facebook looking at who's got Facebook birthdays that day.
Yep.
But just the separation of spending 99 cents and sending that in the mail and actually writing something personal, and for me to get that.
Big difference.
It's a big difference.
Well, you know what? In everything that you look at it, you try to figure out what's a good way of engaging with somebody. So even as I have clients and I work closely with them, or some of them I don't. But in order to get some of these clients, I've written them handwritten letters, because that doesn't happen anymore, right? So any way that you can bring attention to what it is that you're doing, this is an absolute value add. So you can see how you can start to use this as thank you letters.
Use cases too.
Yep. But I love the consumer side, and I can see people just making this easy, taking a picture somewhere where they are and immediately sending it where they want to be. It's a beautiful thing. So you've managed to take a very simple concept, get it from the camera, pull it up from Instagram in a second or two. Literally, it takes to set something like this up. I mean, I did it while I was having breakfast, showing a friend that look, I just sent myself a postcard. But then there's the backside. So you've developed the design, you've got all that.
Yeah.
Then you send it to a printer, and somehow, miraculously, for 99 cents, it gets printed I mean, and what you just showed up, I haven't got mine yet, but you showed it, and it's a high gloss, thick stock, beautiful piece of. I mean, obviously it's printer paper, with a little bit of with postcard stock, with the perforation, all that kind of stuff, shipped to my door for 99 cents, no matter where I am.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, you don't get into specifics, but that's an engineering task unto itself. That process of trial and error and getting it down to the right price.
Oh, we've our community is at the forefront of technology. You go to some other industries and they're much further behind.
Yeah.
A lot of the printing, we've visited printers where they're like, that just can't be done. And we're like, no, we could write software that would work with that machine. They're like, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I remember visiting like a print center and they were just like these old big machines and they had one digital press, but it's crazy. And, our stuff's printed on HP Indigo printers. That's a pretty advanced printer that HP's put together.
Yeah.
And it's allowed for innovation that wasn't possible before, and they're getting better. So we did a lot of learning around this. I mean, it's been awesome because I actually always wanted to do stuff in the physical world. I wanted to start a car company. That was my dream. The car, in high school, that's the kind of company I wanted to start. I went to undergrad and I studied mechanical engineering. And then I was like, wow, it takes a lot of money to start a car company. I better move further up the stack. So I went to electrical engineering, which was like, less physical. And then in my career, I've actually gone all the way to the top, which is to software, and now hopefully maybe I can move my way back down.
Yeah, but not only software, just a layer on top of something that adds a lot of value, right? And I think that it's innovative to build software products, but it's even more innovative to find the holes in those software products and lend a hand to people who have that same pain, right? So Zobni's that way, getting digital photos onto print, unless you're doing it right at home.
Which I think's crazy. Who wants to have a printer, worry about ink, worry about paper?
Yep.
I don't.
It's easier to do it this way. So, you guys don't print it in house though. Like you don't have like a whole bunch of people behind that wall just kind of printing out and shipping and sending. So
no.
Okay.
So we have printing partners, and we essentially integrate with them whichever way it takes to do that. It can be difficult. To send the orders to them, and the goal is to have orders printed as close to the destination as possible. So yeah, I mean, Netflix has done an amazing job with this, and that's to the scale that we want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, it really does, because then it becomes like a utility, like electricity, where you can quite literally, instead of waiting 7 or 10 days for delivery up here in Ottawa, you could literally do it in almost real time.
Yeah, I'd love if we could get there in 2 days.
Well, you can use my printer. I got one back here. Just send it. I'll mail them out. No worries. I'll be the guy that they see on the news like in 3 years with a warehouse full of unsent postcards. Right?
Oh, no.
I don't know what happened.
We're getting a lot of requests from Canadians who want us to be in the Canadian App Store, and we haven't launched in that App Store yet because we want to make sure we have an amazing experience, which is that quick delivery.
Yeah.
So we really don't want to ramp up a country until we have that delivery capacity.
Somehow I have an American account down there too, so I have to, because not often do we have as big a selection of applications on the Canadian.
Sorry about that. It's not by choice. We love Canadians.
Canada. So you're printing these obviously, and familiar with companies like Cafe Press who do like one-off prints. So it becomes. Is that essentially that? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but is that? I mean, are you able to get it to that fine when I order it wherever I am? It just goes and prints and is gone.
Yeah. So it gets batched.
Yeah.
So I think we send orders over every hour, everything that's happened during that hour.
Yeah. And
that gets batched and gets sent, and they get dropped in the mail once a day.
Yeah.
So it's pretty. I mean, you can have something sent to us if it's like in the morning, and it's printed and put in the mail in under 24 hours.
That's just.
I can't take credit for that. Other people are doing that part, but we're very happy to pay them their margin for that.
Well, yeah, of course. But you've taken something that seems so simple and maintained it so simple. Right? Like you just put a good veneer on something that's very complicated, right?
Yeah,
And that's a sign of a good business, isn't it?
Hopefully, we we can take up this pain instead of collectively, millions of consumers taking up the pain.
Yeah.
That's what they pay us for.
So how can you charge 99 cents?
Because it costs us less than that, maybe.
It's somewhere around there. As long as I would assume that as long as you're making money off of every postcard, then
yeah. I mean, the three costs, as you can imagine, are the printing, the shipping, and the payment processing.
Yes.
Which most people don't think about, and it's kind of an annoying one.
It really is.
Especially when it's 99 cents, which we can't use the in-app purchasing on the App Store because it's a physical good.
Yeah.
But we'd also be giving up 30 cents.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I mean, that gets pretty crazy in the physical good world. Yeah. Like most products don't have that kind of margin. So we process it on our own for 99 cents, and that costs us money, and we have to print these and mail them, and so there's definitely cost involved. And the other thing that we want to make sure there's enough margin in our product to do is provide like just incredible customer support and satisfaction on this.
Yeah.
We have a policy for any Sincerely product. If it doesn't show up, if it gets damaged, or you just don't like it, you get a new one sent. We're going to even make it so you can do it on your own. You can resend it if it gets screwed up.
Wow. I
mean, trusting our customers, or get a refund. And we'll have systems to detect if people were fraudulent and stuff. But if you get something, you're not happy with it, and we can make it. You don't want to actually have to talk to me.
Yeah.
To get your 99 cent thing resent.
It's not worth it.
You'd be able to make that decision. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for 99 cents, it's like it's a gimmick, but you want that person to come back a second and third and fourth and 50th time, don't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they have a bad experience that first time, and then they just say, they might look at it as like 99 cents, but all of a sudden it's like you're never ever going to get another
chance them. I want that to show up at their house, and them to be like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's something that you definitely want to do. You never want to lose that revenue opportunity from somebody. So customer service has got to be king. But for 99 cents, it really is. Like, you ever have that balance that says, 99 cents, it's only 99 cents. How can we do $40 worth of customer service on this guy?
Yeah. Some people might think we're just a stupid startup. I don't know. Maybe we are.
Yeah. But it's a volume play, right?
It is.
Like, it really is about, it's about creating, like, you want 1 million customers, or 2 million, or 10 million.
A lot more than 1 million.
Yeah. Like, I mean, what is your goal for that?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think it's absurd to have 50 million people using this.
Well,
no question. No question.
And just repeat users, or... All right, so you build this out, and ultimately the goal for Sincerely is to build multiple products in this space. Mm. So is this one of these, you really want this to become as and I don't mean this in a disingenuous way or a bad way, but as passive as possible, right? So great customer support, technology's flying, everything's working well, your return rate is low, all that kind of stuff that you have to monitor. But you want this to kind of be as automatic as possible, and as routine and as process driven as possible, and then great customer support across all Sincerely products. So
yeah. We even build software to make our customer support better. I mean,
your own software?
Yeah. Again, my co-founder.
That's great.
Yeah, like, just an amazing admin portal where from an email address or a name of a user, you can resend something, you can change an address on something, you can see, when it was printed. You have to build those systems to do stuff like this at scale.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this the other day. There's just there is something in scaling how you do something like customer support. This is one of the best things, you focus on mobile, and this is one of the best things that happens when new platforms come out, is entrenched players get disrupted. Mm-hmm. And it's only when new platforms happen that you can have these disruptions. And the consumers absolutely benefit, because the lessons of the last 10, 15 years haven't been applied to those entrenched players. There's no reason for them to. Yeah. So, the things that we've learned around, building tracking software and systems to monitor things, somebody else isn't going to invest in that. We do from the beginning, and then it allows us to offer a higher level of customer support than somebody else might.
Yeah.
So new platforms are just this fertile ground for entrepreneurs. It's for this reason. and it's good for consumers because things that never got solved in the past are getting solved now.
Or it's exactly it. The problems that we just assume, we just accept, right? Like
Microsoft.
Absolutely, right? It's just because that's the way that it is. You have to hit your computer 3 times on the side and turn it upside down in order for it to work. That's just the way that it works, right?
Yeah. I know.
It does require 9 clicks just cause. And you're right. Disruption like this really does. It's taken everybody by storm. But then what you see is that pendulum swinging, from way over here, where they're not doing anything and they don't get it, to like fully embracing it and still not getting it, right? There's still that lack of knowledge in between about you can't just change your processes. You have to change literally the way that you think about what your business is and who your customers are.
Oh, for the big companies.
For the big companies, yeah. It's a huge challenge. We've seen it.
I think we have an analogous situation in the U.S. government right now. I think they are the entrenched player and they need disrupted.
Well, that's right. And
one sound like an anarchist or something.
Exactly. I'm going to say, send me a postcard when you start. You take down the government. Because the postal system will always work. It's that's one of the things that we've seen. So take me back. How important or how much? I don't even know how to ask this because you did Y Combinator with Zobni, right?
Yeah.
And your co-founder did Y Combinator as well. It came out of Y Combinator. So 4 or 5 years after that, which is what it's been or so.
I think it's 5 years now, yeah.
5 years. Are you still applying that kind of, the process that was kind of indoctrinated in Y Combinator when you went through Zobni? Or is it just much more ingrained now based on experience?
Some of it is. I wouldn't say that the process or mentalities are actually the exclusive rights of Y Combinator.
Yeah. Yes. They don't own your brain, right?
Well, not even just that, just like the way to approach things, right? Like, Eric Ries is, kind of this foremost speaker on the lean startup.
Yeah.
And that's I've studied and worked that way myself, and that we're applying those kind of techniques to what we're doing here. Paul will say release early, release often. Mm-hmm. We're big believers in that.
Yeah.
We released this truly before it was actually ready. And I told you we really kind of put it together in 3 weeks because we had all the back end and stuff done. But these cards, I definitely had users who had this show up without the photo in it, and it's because the chatting here was not strong enough. So we had to quickly change that. But we're iterating on the physical world too. So we're applying those rules. The bigger thing, just from coming from Y Combinator to now, is just I feel like there's less brute force in how we're building the business and more precision. When you're first doing it, you're just pushing really hard, and we still push really hard. But then there's just something that comes with, okay, I know this has worked before, and I know that we can't. Like, my favorite example is our answer to investors with Zobni for everything was oh, we'll A/B test, and then you find out. You get a chance to A/B test one thing per quarter. Yeah. I mean, literally, it comes down. It's it becomes that bad, and so you better be A/B testing the most critical thing to your business. If an investor would ask me that question now, I'd be if they said, "How are you going to know this?" I'd be "We'll make our best decision. That's not the most important thing to the business. We need to A/B test this other thing."
I mean, it's also maturity. It sounds like, as you've gone through it with Zobni, you brought in investors, you went through Y Combinator, you positioned that company. You said you brought in a professional management team, and want that to accelerate, and the company's doing that. What do you want to do? What do you want to do with Sincerely? Are you looking for funding? Are you funded? You finding angels? Is this something that you just want to? You want to build into streams of not passive income, but small products that do great things and charge little amounts?
So we're not talking about our investment stuff right now.
Okay.
But I can talk about the type of business we want to build.
Sure.
And my co-founder and I believe heavily in culture of a company. We want to build a place that we love, and we love the people we work with. And I think we've begun to do that. And my goal is to build an amazing company that can outlast this specific product. You know what I mean? We really want to build an amazing company, and that comes down to people and the values that we set. And we actually think about that a lot, which really is it's just independent from products.
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
100%. But the products are indicative of the people and the culture that you have inside of a company.
It does, or the way that you build them. So,
Absolutely.
you
The
know, one
thought
of
that goes into them, the attention to detail that comes out of them, that's
Yes.
indicative of the culture inside of a company.
Right. So we have like four values in the company. Two that are relevant to this conversation are to learn, and because we almost think that's like the purpose of life. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing more interesting than learning. And then our next is to measure, because you can't learn if you didn't measure. So, and that's how the way we approach building this product and other things.
So, are you happy with the way that the product is launched and that the response that people have put out to you? Like, I mean, you must be seeing some really amazing things coming through here and some response in some of the postcards. I see some pictures that people are sending you where they're
Do you
putting.
follow, do you follow at Postagram?
Yeah, I do, and it's
So I try to retweet, one or two a day from users, and,
yeah.
and they're just doing awesome things. I mean, it's so cool to see that every user out there is way more creative than we are. Even thinking about trying to get some of the good photographers to actually be, I don't want to say on staff, but be our photographer for our account for a month or two.
How great would that be?
Because they're much more creative than us. I've just seen pictures, and you just follow at Postagram to go see what people are doing. But the way that they've set these up in their house, one girl actually used this. I'll show you this. She took off this side piece of the poster that's left over.
Yeah.
Put a little piece of tape on it, stuck it to the back of
I
the
saw
photo,
that picture.
and she made a little photo stand.
Yeah.
And it's on her nightstand, and I was like, oh, that's amazing.
All I look at that and say that it's an engaged community, and how important is that?
Yeah.
These are the guys that are going to be using your product as long as they remain engaged. So, it's so important to do that. Was it a challenge to start that process? I got to think that you didn't start from a dead stop, but you're building a community here, and what went into that?
I think the biggest thing that has to do with building community is caring. That's really
Gary Vaynerchuk, giving a crap, right? Is that
it's giving a crap. That's it. I search Twitter, check the Twitter account first. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing I do, go to bed. My girlfriend's not happy about this. That it's hard for me to be.
You say it was your idea. You put the.
She actually offered to help, get involved because there's so much inbound. But I care. Like if somebody's not happy with something, I want to know. I want to fix it.
Do you think that's a generational thing? Because what we've got here is a very communal technology environment, right? Open APIs. Like you're building a company on somebody else's API. People are doing this with Foursquare, and there's great companies like FootFeed that are leveraging Foursquare, Goala, Yelp, all the Facebook's opening up, and all everybody's opening up their data for opportunities, and it just seems like there's this groundswell of peace and love and community building, even in competing companies. It's so unique.
Yeah, I still want to kick the crap out of any competitor that comes to our space. Yeah. But I think actually what it is that the power's becoming decentralized, just like what we've seen again with governments around the world, where a developer or designer is getting closer to being a freelancer. And that's not the right word for it. Like they can go work for a company, but they have this individualized power, and it's not concentrated to IBM and Microsoft. It's really the power is decentralized, and so it makes a place where somebody that isn't working with you now as an employee or as a co-founder can be a partner, and that in 4 years you might be starting a company together.
Yeah.
And so it's just this decentralized, open thing. It just kind of people settle into being better humans, maybe.
Well, I think that this is not only a technology shift; it's a culture shift in the industry, in the environment, and I welcome it. I hope it lasts. That's one of the things, and everybody's now opening it up, and I hope it stays that way because it's just innovation is flourishing.
Well, so one of the interesting things is, you've seen a growth in the number of people starting companies.
Yeah. And
I do think that there's people out there, I can never tell them this, right? They can do whatever they want, but there's probably people out there that probably shouldn't be starting their own company. And that's fine. Now, the way that you counteract that, those people could be amazing early team members at a company.
Yeah.
And valuations are rising. VCs are getting less of companies for smaller amounts of money. And where that equity is shifting to, I think, is the early employees, where, through the last, 15 years of the internet, I actually think these people are undercompensated. Mm-hmm. And we highly compensate our, early team members with equity because, listen, you can go do your own thing and raise angel funding,
absolutely,
right? And so let's go do something big and better together.
Yeah.
And the way that you do that is take the money away from the VCs and into the team.
Well, I mean, it just seems like that's part of, it comes back to that cultural thing that everybody is part of this entire team, and honing the message, or everybody's a part of this great idea, and honing the message means that everybody is getting literally hands on shoulder behind everybody and pushing that one message forward, and it's pretty unifying. Instead of splintering it all up with the founders getting the majority of it and the VCs getting the rest,
it'll be interesting to see how it scales. That's always the question, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all rosy now, and I've seen what it's like at 35 people. Not everybody in the company can be involved in every decision.
Yeah.
And so how do you set up the organization where people still have that ownership of an element of what they're doing? I actually think one of the companies that have done this best, and I kind of I'm thinking about structuring the way we do things like them, is Zynga.
Yeah.
So what Mark's done is he's, there's a GM of Cityville. Yeah. And he's almost like running his own company P&L for that business unit. And there's teams inside there that have their responsibility. And I don't know, you could almost see having business units within what we're doing.
Well, absolutely. 100%, especially when you start to roll out a new product. You can really have, and that's where you can let ideas flourish, which is the best part of this. Right? And you still have that freedom to flourish, but there's responsibility as well. You have to drive a company.
And then everybody shares these common underlying tools and infrastructure that just makes them fast at what they do. Facebook's another company that's done this really well.
Well, they have, and it starts with the top. It starts with the culture, and it sounds like you guys are well on that. I got two more questions. One of them is, do you have a set schedule for new product releases? Are you on that kind of structure thing, or are you still trying to perfect this one before you move forward with any other products?
We are definitely thinking about other products. We've had other products that we've been thinking about for a long time.
Yeah.
I won't say anything on timing for those, but I also say that with this current product, there's definitely things that we want to improve. Like I'm not happy with the back design of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna make that beautiful too.
Okay, so I like that. Is you got it out there now? It's about making sure that it's exactly the way that it should be. It's beautiful. It's the way that you want it to be.
Yeah, we're close.
Last thing that I want to ask is just about lessons learned during this process. Is there anything that stuck out with you that said, oh wow, we didn't think of that, or on the flip side, this was a lot easier than we thought? Like, is there any kind of observation that you're looking at that says, we didn't expect this?
It's tough dealing with printing partners and stuff. That, they're on like a 5-day-a-week schedule. Yeah. I think about stuff 7 days a week. Yeah. So you literally don't get a phone call back until Monday.
That's kind of crazy.
You call them Friday at 5, and that's like there's to me like 4 days have happened in that time period. So that's pretty stressful. I don't like that.
Well, because you basically had to walk into an industry that, I mean, printing is not a Luddite industry, but it really is set in its way. It's a big industry that if you're going to change, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a frustrating thing. I'm being really, really picky about people that we hire.
Yeah. Have you made a bad hire?
No.
Okay, so none that have happened like that.
In the past we have, like other company, but not so far with this company, at least yet. We'll see. But
how do you find people? Is it through your network?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's three jobs that you have, like when you're running a company. Ben Horowitz wrote this best. You need to make sure there's money in the bank, make sure the company's in a good market, and make sure there's good people on the team.
Yeah.
And so what I've been doing just over the last several years is making sure that I'm investing in each of those three categories. And if I feel I'm deficient in one, I make sure to invest in it more.
Yeah.
Because every day I evaluate myself on those three things. And so, I disproportionately invest in making sure I know good people.
I mean, it makes a difference, doesn't it? Because then they can go and do good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can take that one off your plate for a little bit. Not the management, but certainly you have confidence in your team.
Yeah, management's not. I don't even. That word I think is going to be out of style.
Yeah, you see, I grimace when I say it because it's just
Yeah.
it's a terrible word. It's such a it's stuck in the '90s, and you don't need to manage. You just need to produce, and people know that, and they produce at different times and at different places, right?
And remove variables and help them be successful.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds so like Matt. This is. What starts as a pretty simple thing, which is a product like Postagram on top of an open API of Instagram. You extend the beauty that is Instagram into a product that is a print product in Postagram, and what I uncover here is just a deeper philosophy on business that is pretty incredible, and I can't wait to see what you guys come out with next.
It's going to be pretty awesome. We got something pretty awesome.
Well, as I said, you got me excited about it because it just, when I think of simple things, I always tell the story when I sit in front of a class or I speak at some events and I say, I used to run a trade show to pay for my college education. So, once a quarter I would do these things where I would, sell tables and then I would give a proceed, a macrame plant holder or some kind of technology or a printer or something like that. I'd sell 100 tables and it would be like a flea market or craft sale or something like that. I'd charge each table a certain amount of money and then I'd give some of it to charity and I'd pay my tuition ultimately, right? But I always knew the top selling products because they would come to me with their money and they'd say, this is my contribution. And it always astounds me that you've got a guy who has invested his entire life in building this, technology or doodad or something that is very complicated, sitting next to a woman who has spent, 20 hours building a macrame, plant holder, and they were never the ones that sold the most product of these things. The guy who sold the second most amount, who made the second most money in these things always, was the guy who found driftwood and put googly eyes on them, glued googly eyes on them, right? Simple. People can look at it and say, okay, I'll buy that. It's easy, right? It's $1 or $2, whatever. Sometimes he'd varnish or paint them, but it's like the pet rock, but the pet log, right?
That's funny.
Number one was the guy always who just rented the table and put a big freaking jar of jelly beans in the middle of it and said a buck a guess.
Yeah.
That guy cleaned up every time. And I thought, boy, is that ever a lesson in entrepreneurship, right? In business, is that, the stupid, simple things that you think are stupid and simple are usually the best ideas. Twitter, I know. It's it. And I'm not saying that the Postagram is a stupid idea, but it's so simple. And that's what all of a sudden it came, flashing back to me that the beauty of the idea is the simplicity. And if you can mask the complexity behind it, aces. I think it's a great first product out, and the fact that you can build it in less than a year and are still perfecting it. I love it.
Cool.
So where can people find more about you guys?
So the website for Postagram is postogramapp.com.
Yeah.
Where they can search for Postagram in the App Store.
U.S. only, obviously. Right now.
And if they want to learn about new Sincerely products, they can go to sincerely.com.
It's a great domain name.
Yeah, sign up to learn about new products when they come out. Okay.
Well, this has been great. I really appreciate you doing this, Matt. It's a great glimpse into. I think this generation of entrepreneur in the Bay Area that just get it and culture first, great products come from that, and it's really great to hear that kind of approach that you guys are taking. And I can't wait to get my postcard. I'll let you know how that. Now that I know how to build a Postagram stand. Yeah, I think that's the greatest thing.
Cool.
So
listen, I had fun. I appreciate the time.
Well, all the best to you and the products that you're going to be coming out. We'll be keeping an eye out, and we'll have you on for the next product release.
Cool.
After it's released, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, listen, Matt, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you sticking around for the whole interview. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
I am pretty hungry right now.
Well, and for those of you who are still watching or listening to this, again, heartfelt thanks. Really appreciate you guys who contribute to this at untethered.tv. And I know you found some value from this. And leave a comment and let me know what you think, and I'll pass it on to Matt. Thank you, guys. Matt, thank you. This has been another session of untethered.tv. Done!